So what is baptism? Thinking back to my high school days, I remember dating. Now, I didn't date a lot, but I remember a few things about dating my now wife, Cheyenne. I remember how fun it was. Everything was so exciting and new. I recall those initial feelings of butterflies in my stomach, those feelings of love, right? Now, dating can be a really helpful season because it gives you the opportunity to test the waters. It allows you to kind of ease into a relationship, like easing into a pool. If the water's too hot or too cold, you can get out. Dating relationships can be close, but they're limited. Why? Because there's always an escape hatch. At any point, you can break off the relationship, and many times this is the case. I remember as a youth pastor, I noticed a trend among my students. I was eating lunch one day with kids at school, and there was one very outgoing 6th grade girl who decided that she wanted to go and introduce me, her youth pastor, around to her friends. So as we walked around, she would point out one person, then another, and tell me who they were, and then we'd go up and meet them. So she started with the first boy we came to. She said, "Oh, that's my ex." And she came to another boy and said, "Well, that's my other ex." And then came to another boy and she said, "Well, that's my boyfriend." And yet we came to another boy and she said, "Him? That's my future boyfriend." And for her, these relationships that she was having with these boys, they could be jumped into and jumped out of with no real thought or consequence. Now, I know I'm talking about a 6th grade girl or teenagers even, but so many adults get into this date and dump cycle too. Here's the difference though. Marriage, on the other hand, marriage is different. It's intentionally different. Here's what marriage does. It closes the escape hatch. And when that escape hatch is closed, intimacy grows. In dating, you say you're going to love this person as long as it's good. But in marriage, you're making a vow, a public declaration before God and everyone present that you are going to love this person until death do you part. Now, I still remember my wedding day, June 2nd, 2007. I remember getting ready that morning, putting on my rented tux, making sure I looked just right. And then as it neared the time to begin the service, I recall walking in and standing in the front of the church along with my best friends as we waited for that infamous music. Dun, dun, da, dun, 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 da, da. And my beautiful wife-to-be, Cheyenne, would come through those doors in the back and down the aisle. Now, in a wedding ceremony, you exchange wedding rings or wedding bands. They're the visible representation of our commitment to love, honor, and cherish and support one another in marriage for life. The wedding ring isn't my love and commitment to my wife, but it represents my love. It's a public and visible symbol and sign to everyone that I'm hers and she is mine. So in a sense, baptism is the wedding band of Christianity. Baptism is the outward declaration of the inward decision to follow Jesus with your life. Baptism is the unmistakable, unmissable mark of a New Testament Christian. You see, God doesn't want secret Christians. Following Jesus, just like marriage, shouldn't be something we're embarrassed of or ashamed of. It should be something that we declare to the masses. In the New Testament, think about this. Baptism wasn't as easy and harmless as it is in most churches today. It was actually dangerous to be baptized, not because of the water, but because through baptism, you were publicly declaring your allegiance to a new religion and to a new king, Jesus, which put you at odds with other religions, particularly Judaism, and put you at odds with the powerful Roman Empire and their leader, Caesar. In fact, Christians were in danger of being arrested, tortured, and even killed for claiming allegiance to Jesus. Baptism for those early Christians was their way of saying, "I'm all in. There's no turning back, no matter what it costs me." And baptism should hold that same weight for us today. The act of baptism itself, by immersion, as we see demonstrated in the Bible, it isn't just a symbol of allegiance, but it's also a symbol and declaration of our beliefs. You see, your baptism represents and it declares these three things. First, as you are dunked under the water and raised back out, it symbolizes your belief and Jesus' own death, burial, and resurrection to new life. Secondly, as you go under the water and come back out, it represents the death of your old self and the birth of your new life in Jesus. You're a new creation, born again, made new. And finally, the physical water that we're dunked into, it represents this spiritual washing away of our sins and cleansing that we receive through our faith in Jesus. Now this is baptism.